Good afternoon, I'm Rose Jacobs and welcome to Executive Corner Expert Talks, where we bring you industry leaders, successful business owners, market and equity advocates all under one roof to help you discover the insights of the stock markets and help you understand how you can create multiple passive income streams. In today's show, we're speaking with David Lee, President of Prive Technologies. As a critical partner to the financial industry worldwide, Prive Technologies enables clients to realise the full potential of digital business, and they believe that every company has its strengths. The modular concept offers the clients innovative digital tools and services to increase these strengths, and it's therefore a tailored solution made simple. Welcome, David, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Rose. Good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here. Great to be on Kalkine TV.
Well, the idea of digital wealth management is rapidly spreading right across financial institutions and businesses. However, the transformation hasn't always been successful. Is this the case in your view?
Yes, digital transformation is not as easy. There's a lot of different moving pieces. And in the end, I think the end goal is to get the end client, meaning people like ourselves, comfortable with how much wealth that we will accumulate through our lifetime, because it's all about, for instance, the macro conditions that affect our lives. Do I have enough to live on after I retire? Do I have enough to send my kids to college? All these things center on wealth, and as a result, this digital transformation needs to happen. It's not easy. People are trying, and we're seeing a lot of innovative companies, hopefully, companies like ours, that are trying to address this problem.
So what would you say some of the advantages are in digitising wealth in today's world?
Well, first, I think it'd be scalability, because I think that for wealth, obviously there's that saying that the wealthy are getting wealthier are getting wealthier, excuse me, I can't speak today. And I think that nomenclature and that saying needs to apply for everyone, and everybody has a right to live their lives the way they want. And for that to happen, they need to accumulate wealth, make sure that they're taken care of. And as a result of which, I think the technology can make this scalable, so that what we're trying to do is, I think there's a lot of talk about democratizing wealth or having wealth for the masses. I think the more appropriate paradigm and the more appropriate saying is to gentrify wealth. And when I say gentrify, it doesn't mean chasing out people from places where we need to improve the neighborhood. It's more about enabling and empowering people to take control of their future and to be able to provide for their loved ones, provide for themselves in terms of how they want to live their lives.
Certainly sounds like there's a power of choice involved in that, and also very much the word accessibility comes to mind.
Yes, that's absolutely right. So what we're trying to do is, for those that have obviously a lot of wealth, they'll always get the great service, the personalized portfolio management, the wealth, the type of extras that are available to them. But what about the people that are making $100,000, $50,000 a year? How does that affect them, and how can they get that service? And that's essentially what we're trying to provide, along with various other fintechs in the world, trying to ensure that that service is available to people. And I think that's the right approach and the right way to look at it, Rose.
It's an excellent description there. Thank you, David. Now, cloud-based banking is rapidly gaining popularity. Why would you say it's vital in building these strategic partnerships?
Because I think it's all about connectivity. And when you think about it, how has wealth and wealth services, how have they been provided? They've been provided by one institution where you would have an RM or a relationship manager that you go to, and then you would buy the products that the bank provides, along with executing and transacting along the bank's infrastructure. For this to happen and this to be more available to more people, cloud computing is actually quite important, because first of all, it decreases the cost in which to provide these services. And the second thing is it provides more choices for people to be able to, for instance, bank at, let's say, an HSBC. I'm just making up these names, but at least be able to then get products from A and Z Bank, or and of course execute with maybe JP Morgan. And these types of choices, and like you said, taking control and accessibility are keywords and factors that have made cloud computing infrastructure so important for the financial industry.
And as you said, connectivity, that's that connection that is now possible thanks to the digitised world. So how would you say, David, these trends have been affecting the different segments in the banking space?
I think it's just really emphasized and essentially exponentially increased the ability of people to know more about wealth. Because again, I think, Rose, when you think about it, when people think about wealth, about insurance, about how much money they have in their bank, people think it's a chore. People think it's like going to the doctor and getting a diagnosis. That's, I think, a paradigm shift we need to make, and we can do that through technology, through gamification of how to create goals for people to increase their wealth in a way that's fun and that affects them and it resonates with them. And these types of things, I think, can be done through these different types of accessibility points, these different types of journeys, and through the scalability of the infrastructures through cloud, through different other fintech companies that are able to be connected through these different technological means is actually exponentially growing the aspect and the elaboration and the growth of wealth. Because again, private wealth is growing constantly. That's always going to be constant because people are making more money. Uh, Obviously, the population is increasing. But then that's the demand side. The supply side is how do you essentially how are you able to cater to this demand? How are you able to offer services so that people are able to manage their wealth? I think that's the key here. And that's, I think, the different ways that we're able to then scale this through technology.
Do you think that that is something that's going to be possible, catering to such a high number of a greater demand in the very near future?
Yes, I think it's not. I think it's a must. I think this is a social issue here, if I may say so, because again, from a technology provider perspective, I think that people, obviously, even Australia with the superannuation regime that's being revamped. So these supers are now needing to have expert advice in terms of how you then not just buy products, but how that product affects you or your portfolio. For instance, I was just seeing a great commercial, but with Sage in it about cryptocurrency. So let's say that I put cryptocurrency into my portfolio. How does that affect my portfolio? Am I going to lose a lot of money? Am I going to make a lot of money? What's the risk involved? And can I actually be able to, take on that risk as a person that's either educated or uneducated or just learning about that space?
David, I think you've really highlighted a significant point there. And in Australia, as you've mentioned, superannuation is a very hot topic for us and really pushing for some changes in policy here with the Australian government. I do think you've really pressed on an interesting point as well about financial literacy, and often changes or transformations do require an increase in financial literacy. So is that something that you see now being possible on a greater scale thanks to this digital transformation?
Yes, that's absolutely right. And I think, Rose, I think that's the key aspect of this paradigm shift. Because let's assume in the medical field, all the doctors become robots and we have the technology to essentially automate everything about medical diagnoses. Do you think people would still take that route, or would they still go to a human doctor to try to get their diagnosis? I think it's a DNA set here because wealth has always been personal. Wealth has always been talking to someone about, hey, I'm trying to do this or I'm buying this. What do you think? And I think as much as AI has grown by leaps and bounds, technology has grown by leaps and bounds, and I know it sounds a bit strange coming from a fintech company, there's always going to be that human element. And as a result, it's really important that this literacy not only be imbued to the end customer, but also to the relationship manager, to the person at the bank explaining these concepts. And the technology that we have at Prive, along with many great fintech companies in Australia that have tried to and are trying to and have succeeded, I think, in addressing part of these pain points, is to ensure that that literacy is then, spread and obviously like a virus, essentially. I'm sorry for the term, maybe I don't know if that's the appropriate term here, but
A positive virus, perhaps.
a positive virus to spread to people, so the knowledge then is there. And this is what technology does, because think about it. When you talk to a bank person, that person, what does that person do very well? When you think about and you compare that person to a computer, can that person calculate, a portfolio return as fast as a computer? No. Can it, come up with 30 different portfolios to you in an instant, in 5 minutes, in 5 seconds or 10 seconds? No. But what that person can do is that person can empathize with you and know what you need, know what type of goals you want to achieve, and the technology is there just to enable. And like you said, make it accessible so that journey becomes much less of an arduous one and much more of an engaging journey. And that's essentially what technology is at this point.
Isn't it interesting, David, how human connection has almost become a luxury item in this day and age? So, on that level of human emotion, have you found that many people are feeling cautious about making a digital transformation?
Yeah, I think people are a bit more cautious, but I think it's something that's inevitable, and people are more accepting of this now. And I think it's a slow change, but it's very important to do it in stages, through a process, through technology where people can gain knowledge and get used to these types of different ways of interacting, whether it's through a robo advisor app, whether it's through a bionic advisor where the advisor sits with you, maybe through Zoom or maybe through some other type of proprietary communication system where you can see the advisor's face, and then on the screen you can see the different portfolio choices you've made over the years, and that you talk to that advisor and you're able to be comfortable with the decisions that you're making. All of these things, I think, will inevitably cause this to become, I think, in a way, much better, because it enables people to understand and be more accessible. And as a result, there's a lot of information that people get, whether through Bloomberg, whether through different other channels, including Kalkine, and the way that we can then sparse it and make it personal to people through algorithms and through AI, I think will really help people. And this digitization, it's happening everywhere, not just through wealth. I mean, everything is now digitized, and I think that as people become more accustomed to it, will be able to affect people in a more positive way with respect to their wealth and their asset management skills.
So, David, with that said, would you actually agree that perhaps the point of difference of Prive in particular is that it's a personalised digitisation, whereas some of the other companies in the same sphere are missing out on that personalised element or emphasis on that?
Yeah, Rose. So I get this I get this question a lot. What is Prive? What do you guys do? I mean, are you a robo advisor? Are you, a platform? Are you a portfolio management tool? And what I try to do is I try to show this to people. I don't know if you can see it here, but this is my prop for today, and it's essentially a Lego.
Did you just make that
It's
then?
a diorama of I think Minecraft or something. I think I just took it off of someone's desk here, and it's just like a Lego where you can take Legos and you can put them together. And what our platform is it provides different Legos where you can put things together to create that journey, whether you want to be a robo advisor or whether you want to help a client through different technologies. And then we stitch them together to make sure that that platform exists. And ultimately, our vision is to become that platform whereby a lot of the fintech companies, the banks, the insurance companies, the securities companies can offer their products and services on Prive, so people are able to then access the wealth knowledge, the wealth products, the wealth services, the wealth advisors that they want. So we're almost would be like an Amazon, or maybe in Australia, a Kogan, where you can essentially go and shop, except for you're not buying, sundries or maybe tissue paper, but you're buying services and wealth information, if that makes sense.
It certainly does, and David, you've just proven that that element of fun you mentioned earlier is a part of your strategy. I'm pleased to see that that really is the case. Bringing Lego into the interview today.
It's a bit of a dry sort of subject, so we try to spruce it as much as we can, right?
No doubt, and it really did illustrate the point perfectly that Prive's point of difference is potentially about providing a more bespoke service as well, as you mentioned.
Yes, thank you.
So what would you say the vision is for the next step? I know you've already certainly achieved a great deal of recognition for where you've gotten to so far, with your patent technology winning multiple awards in the industry. What's up your sleeve for the next stage?
Oh, I mean, I don't know how long I have. There's so many ideas. They're all in my head, and obviously, we have a great team here that's trying to execute all these ideas. But I think the first step is to create some type of, and again, to expand on, actually, let me correct myself, to expand the unitary platform that we have, that a lot of our banks, insurance companies, securities companies in Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea, Germany, Austria, the UK are using, and trying to expound on that and create more and more, shall we say, Lego blocks to be able to find and try to address certain use cases and obviously offer different products. Crypto is very, very big these days. DeFi, NFT, the metaverse, these things I think need to be incorporated, and that's what we're working on. And we're really excited about offering it on our platform and being able to work with really a lot of, extraordinary and world class fintech companies in Korea, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Australia, all over the world, and trying to bring that wealth management to everyone.
You mentioned bringing it to everyone. Would you say that the demographic that you're looking at is widening and potentially looking at younger generations?
Yeah, actually, the Gen Z generation, I think, is key here. I think the ask from them, at least from our uh, market studies and our ability to leverage the data that we provide and we collect as a result of being able to see wealth move around, is simplicity, is engagement, is digitization, which was the first question that you asked, and being able to put that into one type of system or platform where everyone can then go in and use that, so that the points are very different for everyone. For instance, people, like I said, maybe they want to talk to someone, but there's also people that are much happier to, talk to their phone, for example. I mean, this is a Samsung phone. Samsung is one of our investors. And, wealth management can be offered through Bixby, through Siri, through Alexa, through Samsung Pay, through Apple Pay, through Google Pay. And these are things that I think are generating a lot of interest. And I know that there are going to be a lot of wallets, digital wallets, where you're going to be carrying around your ID, your bank statements, your bank accounts, and that's also a big integral part of how we would address, Generation Z consumers. And I'm hoping that with the help of our clients, meaning our B2B clients, in which we provide these platforms, that's also going to be a key focus of what we're going to do in the next couple of years.
David, I might not be Gen Z anymore, but I am most certainly going to be watching this space, and I thank you so much for your time today with us here at Kalkine.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rose. It's been really great. Stay safe, and hope to be back very soon.
We would love to chat with you. Indeed. David Lee there, President of Prive Technologies, and as I said, watch this space for more updates right throughout this afternoon, but till then, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.